If you want something that incorporates physical actors, if you want something that incorporates new actors but also poets, if you want something that's lyrical but doesn't really have music, if you want something that is truthful, something that is queer, something that is a black experience, that isn't necessarily a mammy and auntie or someone that's doing housework, if you want a true family drama, Darker Side of the Rainbow's for you.
Does she love me or does she love me not? Or do I love myself enough for that to be just enough?
I think Rachel getting this grant is a milestone in a couple of ways. So I mean, first of all, like the grant, typically like looking at the list of winners, very few women have won the grant in general. So that's like a step one of just like adding to a volume of just like a small group of women who have won the grant, and let alone to my knowledge and to I think everybody that I've talked to, this is the first black playwright who's ever won the grant. Which I think is also kind of like self-explanatory and phenomenal, especially at the University of Georgia and kind of its history.
I think it's exciting. I really do. It's kind of like it's like a big thing for me personally, because anything that involves color at a PWI is always kind of like there's a separate divide between, there's like a hierarchy of some sort. So at first it was kind of like, okay, the black girl won it. But also, for me, it was like, you're the black girl that won it. Initially, when I wrote the play, it was just a series of monologues. It was a series like poetry monologues, I guess, to call it. And it was just a cathartic kind of release for me. It's just a series of poems that I wrote. I was like, hey, it kind of flows with a storyline. So Abraham Johnson actually was the one that told me about the New Georgia grant, and he was like on me about applying, and I was in the middle doing BFE and was like, nah, then I just decided to just do it because he persuaded me to. Justin has been there from the beginning of the process. He has been who I would call when I was crying about like trying to figure out the poems. He was there when I was spitting and just throwing out ideas to him. He was giving me actual feedback, and he was raw with me, which is what I wanted. I wanted truth. I wanted uncensored criticisms, and he's just been there, so he knows. That's my baby.
She showed me the script when we were both applying for the New Georgia grant in 2017, 2018 year. I ended up deciding not to apply, but I was helping her throughout the application, just giving small notes on the script and everything. And so once she submitted it and ended up winning, she knew that I was studying a lot for directing, which is my end-all be-all goal. And she decided to ask me to be the director. So from then on, we just started working together to collab to kind of bring the script to life.
So for the first week of rehearsals, we did table work. So what that means is that we sat down with the script, the cast read it out loud to me, and with the director, with the stage manager, everyone's present, and we just talk. So that was where I was a part of the production.
We started with the table work and the character work where, we sat down for a week simply just rereading and re-talking about the script over and over and over, because I wanted them to understand the unity in this project.
It's very interesting because upon rereads of the script, I was able to find different layers to Manuel's character that I didn't see at first glance.
So far, it's been a lot of taking things very slowly. So we did have to learn lines kind of quick because we're only 3 weeks out. But everything has been taking a moment. Reactions has been the biggest thing, especially. So understanding what the other character said, it's taking it in and seeing what reaction fits best for what your character is going to say next.
Day-to-day rehearsal, well, so far we've been doing warm-ups by ourselves. So it's about like a 5-minute individual warm-up, which I really like because it kind of gives you that individual time. And then we've started blocking. So originally we were starting with skill work with our memorized lines, but now we're really blocking and putting the show on its feet.
For this, the roadmap is just wide open. And so anything that we do here is original, and in that fact, it frees us, but it also makes us tread a lot more lightly.
Working on a new script is scary, but it's also like fulfilling because there's no other previous character, previous rendition that you have to be compared to. One thing that Rachel said to me was, this is Rachel's baby, she did make it and stuff like that, but she told me to make Alexandra like my own. So yes, it's semi-autobiographical, but Alexandra is her own person in her own life, on her own page, like in her own scripts.
I was a little intimidated at first because they're all older than me, but they're all so welcoming and so kind, and I love them. And we've had a blast already. Like, our goofy sides are starting to come out, so that's good. I'm all goofy, so I was ready for that.
My favorite part so far has to be just reading it. I know that sounds cheesy, but especially since I've seen the progression of this character and of this script over like the past year. So it just blows my mind that every time you read it, you find something new.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things that I've heard about, or one of the things that I've seen when talking about like new, specifically like Black playwrights, is like a constant comparison to like other Black playwrights. And with Rachel in particular, I think she's so incredible because like she's not going to be the next Susan Laurie Park. She's not going to be the next Jackie Sliblewis Drury. She's going to be the first Rachael Simpson.
If I'm writing, I feel like that's my rawest, purest, truest form of expression because I have the right to deny what is actually my words and what is my character's words. I have so much room to just express myself in any shape or form through any kinds of lens. So that's how she imitates, and that's how I feel from her.